Simpleton Fire and Emergency, this is Delbert. May I help you?
Oh, no, not you again.
What's the nature of your emergency? May I help you?
Can you put someone else on the line this time?
Is this Empty Plate again?
Well, who do you think it is?
Mr. Plate, I sure hope this is an emergency.
Of course it's an emergency. I wouldn't call if it weren't.
What's the nature of your emergency, Mr. Plate?
Well, I was denied breakfast at the polling center in Jacksonville this morning.
Were you trying to cast a vote in Jacksonville? Aren't you registered to vote in Simpleton?
No, I wasn't there to vote. I'm not on the ballot. I was there for breakfast. They said they were serving breakfast for everyone who showed up. I was hungry.
Mr. Plate, let me get this straight. You weren't registered to vote there, and you showed up because someone offered a free breakfast to everyone who voted?
They didn't say anything about having to vote. They just said we needed to show up.
And vote?
No, Mr. Hotshot. All we needed to do was show up, and I showed up.
Mr. Plate, where is your father?
He's at home. Why don't you mind your potatoes?
And where are you, Mr. Plate?
I just arrived at the Simpleton bus station. Someone in Jacksonville agreed to pay for my bus fare as long as I promised not to come back ever again.
Mm-hmm. And how'd you get down there, Mr. Plate?
My father took me down there. He said I could stay as long as I wanted. What's it to you?
Empty, this is the last time I'm going to warn you. Simpleton Fire and Emergency is not a hotline for your personal gripes. It's an emergency service for people who need the help of medical, fire, and law enforcement personnel. You are abusing a tax-funded public service and preventing me from helping people who really need it.
Look, mister, I need you to get a wiggle on arresting the people at that polling station in Jacksonville. Are you going to help me?
We're not arresting anyone in Jacksonville.
Are you drinking giggle water? I was denied breakfast. Stop beating your gums at me and arrest those people.
Mr. Plate, I've had about enough of your disrespect, but even if I wanted to help you, I couldn't.
For crying out loud, why not?
Jacksonville is not in our jurisdiction. It's not even in our state.
It isn't?
No, Mr. Plate, Jacksonville is in Florida.
What state are we in?
You don't know? Where did you go to school?
I went to Simpleton Elementary. What's it to you?
When did you graduate?
I didn't graduate.
Well, that explains a lot.
Well, let's see if you know your onions, Mr. Know-It-All. What country is Florida part of?
The United States of America?
Wrong. It's a part of the Spanish Empire. They taught me that at Simpleton Elementary.
Yes, it was part of the Spanish Empire before we bought it from them.
Says you. What colonies border Florida?
They're not colonies anymore, Mr. Plate. They're states, Georgia and Alabama.
Wrong again.
Mr. Plate, what was the last grade you attended?
I dropped out after flunking for 10 years in a row because they weren't smart enough to pass me. Why?
Well, Mr. Plate, I think you need to go back and try again.
Well, how dare you, young man? I'll have you know that my mother thinks I'm smarter than all the people who went to school with me.
Well, I guess it's like they say.
What's that?
The truth hurts.
Well, I've about had it with you, Mr. Hotshot. Are you going to send the police or not?
No, Mr. Plate, Jacksonville is not in our jurisdiction, and you had no business going to a polling location outside of your voting precinct. Aside from that, the breakfast was offered to those who were there to vote. You were not there to vote. You were there to eat.
I know my rights, Snaggletooth.
Apparently you don't. Have you ever heard of the Constitution?
Yes, I take my Constitution every day.
I thought so.
Are you going to send the police?
No, I'm not sending the police, Mr. Plate.
Well, that did it. I'm calling the Better Business Bureau.
You do that, Mr. Plate. We're done here.
Young man, how dare you speak to me in that manner? I'll see you in court.
I look forward to meeting you, Mr. Plate. See you then. Goodbye.
Wait a minute. Don't hang up. Hello? Hello? Hello?
If you'd like to make a call, please hang up and try again.
Rotten punk.
If you need help, hang up and then dial your operator.